Hello, good afternoon to everyone. So I'm here to show you the solutions of some problems in free fall. Okay, so like I said last time, we are using the same formulas as we use for kinematics for horizontal motion, like in velocity of a car, the speed of a car, the distance traveled, acceleration, and so on. So the only difference is the main difference is acceleration here is the gravitational force. So we have a constant value of g. So a in the formulas of kinematics horizontal, A will be substituted by the letter G for gravity. So it's a constant. It is 9.81 meters per second squared. Okay, so to understand this better, I'll show you some problems and I will be solving them. Okay, so I'll be sharing the problems. Okay, hopefully you can read them. Okay, so the first problem states that a ball is dropped from rest at a cliff. Okay, what we're looking for, number one, what is the speed of the ball 5 seconds later? Okay, B, what is the velocity of the ball at this time? Okay, and C, how far did it travel during this time? And finally, D, what is the displacement of the ball? Okay, so ano ba yung given? So first is the ball is dropped from rest. So meaning, hindi gumagalaw yung bola the time we dropped it. So it is from rest. So meaning, the initial velocity is equal to 0. Okay, so next is what is the speed of the ball? Okay, so actually, A and B are the same. But for A, we're looking for the speed, while for B, we're looking for the velocity. Now, when we say speed, it is a scalar quantity, and then velocity, it is a vector quantity. Okay, likewise, C and D are somewhat the same. So C's we're looking for the distance, how far, and D we're looking for the displacement. Okay, again, C is a scalar quantity, which is how far, distance, and your D is a vector quantity, which is displacement. Okay, so I'll be removing the share tray for a while. Okay, so I've already written the given in the problem. Okay, so first is the given is your initial velocity, which is equal to 0 since it is from rest. Okay, and then your time given is 5 seconds. Okay, now G here has a value of 9.81 meters per second squared, so the gravitational force. Okay, but the sign depends on the direction of the ball. Now, if the ball is going up, so we know that G is a vector quantity. Okay, so meaning if it's going up, pag pataas siya, so meaning it's going to the positive y-axis. So meaning positive yung sign ng G mo. Pag pababa siya, going to the negative y-axis, meaning ang sign mo is negative. So in this case, ang given, your VO is equal to 0 since hindi gumagalaw yung bola nung nag-umpisa. Okay? You're given the time of 5 seconds. Okay? And then your G is a constant, has a constant value of 9.81 meter per second squared. Okay? But in this case, we're going to use negative 9.8 meters per second squared since pababa yung bola mo. So going to the negative y direction, kaya negative siya. So we're looking for the final velocity. Okay, final velocity hinahanap natin at the time of 5 seconds. So using our formula, second formula actually in kinematics, in horizontal motion. So we have Vf is equal to Vo plus At. But in this case, we're going to use not A, but G. Okay, so Gt. Therefore, your final velocity is equal to your initial velocity, which is equal to 0. Okay, so omitted na yan. That is equal to 0. And then your G now is negative 9.81 meters per second squared multiplied by the time of 5 seconds. So seconds will cancel. You will be okay, having a unit of meter per second na lang since seconds and seconds will cancel. Okay, I'll try to solve this. So this is equal to 9.81 multiplied by 5. So that's equal to 49.05 negative. So negative 49.05. Okay, this is meters per second. Okay, so what is this value? Okay, so this is the velocity of the ball at 5 seconds. So this is your velocity. This is the answer for B. We're looking for the velocity. Now for A, we're looking for the speed. Okay, so your speed now is equal to 49.05 meters per second. Remember, ang speed mo is a scalar quantity, walang negative positive na speed. Okay? So it's just positive, walang negative. So ito lang, velocity na negative siya, dahil vector siya, it indicates na yung direction niya is pababa. Kaya negative yung velocity niya. So the first question is A, what is the speed? So your speed is 49.05 meters per second. Since wala negative na speed, yun yung bilis niya. Okay? Now, anong velocity niya? Ang velocity niya is negative 49.05 meter per second squared. So may sign siya negative kasi it's a vector quantity, meaning we know that your ball is going down kasi it's uh, uh, going at the direction of the negative y-axis. Okay, so I repeat, your distance is positive since scalar quantity siya, your velocity is negative. Okay, the velocity is positive, it just indicates the direction, okay, of the ball. Okay, so that's the answer for A and B. Okay. Now the second question, the second and the third required are the distance and the displacement. Okay. So I'll be removing this one. I'll be using the same values given. Okay. So same pa rin, same problem, no? Zero initial velocity, and then you're given 5 seconds. Okay. Final velocity now. You have your final velocity now. Okay. Our final velocity is negative 49.05 meters per second. Okay, so we solve this value. Okay, so required is the distance and displacement. Okay, so I think you're familiar with this. This is also a scalar quantity while displacement is a vector quantity. Now, looking at the formulas, we have 4 formulas given in kinematics before in horizontal motion. Okay, so we're looking for a distance. So you have a formula which is equal to d, okay, VOT or initial velocity multiplied by time plus 1/2 AT squared. But in this case, we're going to use G T squared. Okay, since A now is being replaced by G since it is going downward. It's a vertical motion. Okay, so we know that VO is equal to 0, so we can omit this part. 0 multiplied by 5 is still 0. So 0 yung ating initial velocity. Okay, next is we substitute the values. So 1/2, okay, what is 1/2 of G, which is negative 9.81 meter per second squared multiplied by your time squared. So it is equal to 5s squared. Now, if you square 5 seconds, seconds become second squared. So second squared will cancel. You will have a unit of meter. So meter will remain. So tama-tama distance siya. Kasi yung sine squared mo, sorry, or second squared here, and then this one, seconds become squared. So magka-cancel sila. Therefore, your unit will be is in meters ang unit mo. Okay, so let's try to solve this one. So it is equal to negative 9.81 multiplied by 25. So 25, no? 5 is squared is 25. That is equal to negative 24. Okay. Negative 24, sorry, 245.25. So this is equal to negative 200 divided by 2. Okay, so your D now is equal to 122 0.62. This is in meters. Okay, I repeat, 9.81 times 25, since it is 5 squared, so divided by 2 or multiplied by 1, if you get the value of 122. The sign is negative. Therefore, this is your displacement. Okay, so you know that displacement is a vector quantity. Therefore, may negative and positive. So, ibig sabihin, ang direction niya is going down kasi negative siya. Okay? So, yan yung displacement. Now, your distance now, I'll use a capital letter D for distance. No? Distance is 122.62 meters. So, I repeat, positive siya. So, walang negative na distance. And distance is a scalar quantity. So, therefore, your distance now is equal to 122.62 meters. And then, your displacement is equal to negative 122.62 meters. I think you could distinguish this one, no? Distance is scalar, therefore puro positive yan. While your displacement is may negative and positive. It depends on the direction. Okay, so in this case, I think you can distinguish that. Okay, so this is the first problem. Okay, hopefully you understand. If you have any questions, just comment below, okay, in the FB page. I'll proceed with another example. Okay, so I'll be erasing this one first. Okay, so number 2, the problem states that a rock is thrown downwards. Okay, it is thrown downwards at an initial speed of 15 meters per second. Okay, from the top of the cliff. Okay, A, what is the speed and velocity? So we're looking for to what is the speed and velocity of the ball 8 seconds later. And B, how far they travel during this time. So our given is the initial speed. So unlike the problem before, the ball was thrown, meaning binato siyang pababa. Unlike before, binitawan lang siya, so hindi siya gumagalaw, it is from rest. So zero yung velocity niya. Now, ito binato. So meaning initial velocity natin is 15 meters per second ang initial velocity natin. Okay? And then your time is also given 8 seconds. Okay? Now again, our G, since it is going down, G going down, it is negative 9.81 meters per second squared. Okay, so required. Okay, for A, it is the speed and velocity. Velocity. Okay, so let's try to solve this one. Wait, I'll remove the share tray so you could understand and see it better. Okay, so given yung initial velocity, it is 15 meters per second. So meaning kasi before, binitawan mo lang yung bola, kaya zero. Sorry, yes, I think it's the ball, the first problem. So meaning zero siya kasi hindi naman siya gumagalaw before. Wala siyang force before. Okay, nung hinagis, nung binitawan siya, ito may force na. Meron na siyang force na 15 meters per second, meron na siyang bilis. Okay? At the given time of 8 seconds, ano daw ang speed niya and yung velocity niya. Okay, so ano ba yung solve natin? So ngayon, let's try to solve for this one. Now, it is quite important, no? Your VO, since it is velocity, initial velocity, not initial speed, it is negative. Okay, so given sa problem is positive 15 meters per second. Pero we know that binato kasi pababa. Okay, so meaning pababa siya, therefore, anong sign niya? Velocity. So it's not initial speed, it's initial velocity. Okay, so pag binato siya, ang formula natin is VO. Binigay yung speed, but sa formula we're using velocity. So ang speed niya is 15 meters per second, but ang velocity niya is negative 15 meters per second. So to be sure, no, kaya siya negative kasi pababa. So you have to analyze, binigay niya 15 meters per second, but that is the speed. Okay, now we're using a formula wherein we're using velocity, VO, V, hindi S. Okay, so meaning, pag ginawa mo siyang vector, yung 15 meters per second na yan becomes negative kasi pababa siya. Kaya negative yung sign mo dito. Okay, so let's solve for the velocity, final velocity. It is equal to VO plus AT, or in this case, your A again becomes G. Okay. So VF now is equal to negative 15 meters per second plus negative 9.81 meters per second squared multiplied by your time, which is 8 seconds. So seconds will cancel and 1 second here. So this becomes meters per second na lang. So that is your velocity. Okay. So I'll try to solve it first. Okay. So your velocity now is 9.81 negative multiplied by 8 seconds. Okay, 8. So that is 78.5 48. So negative 15 meters per second minus 78.48 meters per second. Okay, so and then we will subtract 15. Well, so we have a final velocity of negative 93.43 meters per second. Okay, so this is your velocity after 8 seconds or at 8 seconds. Okay, so pag hagis niya ng bola na mayroong speed na 15 meters per second, after 8 seconds, ang velocity niya is negative 93.43. So again, ang speed niya ngayon, ang speed niya is 93.43 meters per second. So ito yung speed niya. So negative 93, that is your velocity. Since vector siya, may direction siya, therefore it is negative, meaning you know it's going down. Okay? But ang speed niya is 93.43 kasi wala namang sign yung speed. It's a scalar quantity. Okay? So that's for A and B. And then we're also looking for how far they travel during this time and what is its displacement. Okay, so let's continue with that. So I'll be erasing this part, the solution. We have the same given. Okay, same given tayo. So your D now, your D. So we're looking now for, this is for B, no? B. We're looking for the distance, again, distance and displacement. Okay, so D, using our formula again. Actually, it's like the first problem. Okay, it is VOT plus 1/2 AT squared. Okay, but this time A becomes G. Okay, so solving for the distance or displacement, I think this is displacement. So your initial velocity now is negative 15 meters per second. Okay, multiplied by your time is 8 seconds. Okay, and then plus, I'll write it below. Okay, so 1/2 multiplied by negative 9.81 meter per second squared, which is your gravity, and the square of your time. Okay, so that is 8. Okay, I'll be squaring it. Okay, so you could see the unit cancelled. Okay, so 8 squared is 64 second squared. Okay, so seconds will cancel here, seconds will cancel, second squared and second squared will cancel. So therefore, your final answer is in meters. Okay, meters. Okay, so let us solve this one. So negative 15 multiplied by 8 is equal to 120. So D is equal to 120 and then minus, so 64 multiplied by negative 9.81 equals, okay, divided by 2 or times 1/2. So that is negative, so it's negative 120 minus 313.92. So the unit is in meters, meters. Okay, so therefore your D is equal to minus 120. It is 433.92. 433.92 meters. Okay, so negative. So meaning negative siya, that is your displacement. May direction siya, it is going down. Therefore, your distance, I'll use the capital D, D is equal to 433.92 meters. So this is your displacement, this is your distance. They're actually the same. Of course, they're the same. But the displacement has a direction because it's a vector quantity. And the direction is signified by the sign. So negative meaning it is going down. Okay, but the distance traveled is, of course, they're the same, 433.92 meters. So, and you can see the unit analysis. So meaning dapat maitira sa inyo is only meters lang, unit of distance. Okay, so we solve for the distance and the displacement. So this is problem number 2. Okay, so let me erase it first. Then we'll solve another problem. Okay, I'll share another problem. Okay, problem number 3. Okay, a stone is dropped from the top of a building. Okay, so it's dropped, meaning it is from rest. Okay, so there was no, this that did not signify or did not state na it is thrown. There's a velocity. So it's only dropped. So parang binitawan lang siya. Okay, from the top of the building. And hits the ground 5 seconds later. So how tall is the building? Okay, so you're given, wait, I'll just write the given. You're only given time. Okay, so your the initial velocity is equal to 0. Okay, your time is 5 seconds. And then, of course, G, okay, G is negative 9.81 meters per second squared. So it is still negative since it's going down. It is not thrown up, it was just dropped. Okay, so required is the distance. Required is the distance. Meaning, when we say distance, it is the height of the building. Okay. So let's remove that. Okay. So meaning, let's say this is your building. Okay, this is the ground. Okay. So the ball was dropped. Wait, I'll look at the problem. This is the ball, it's a rock. It was a stone. Okay. So a stone was dropped. So binitawan mo lang itong stone. So ito yung bato mo. So binitawan mo. From this point, yung height ng building, hanggang umabot siya doon is umabot daw ng 5 seconds yung time. So meaning, pagbagsak niya dito, gaano kataas tong building na to. So you're looking for the height, which is of course the distance from dito sa pagbitaw mo sa bato hanggang sa umabot sa dulo na 5 seconds ang time niya na inabot doon, na makabot sa ilalim. Okay? So on this natin is gawin natin yun ang height niya. Okay. So these are given. Okay, let's use the formula for distance. Distance is equal to the formula of VOT plus T, plus 1 half GT squared. Okay, now your VOT is equal to 0 since V initial is equal to 0 kasi binitawan lang. Okay, so this is equal to 0. Therefore, your distance is 1 half multiplied by negative 9.81 meters per second squared multiplied of course by the time squared. Okay, so your time is equal to 5 seconds. Okay, so 5. I'll be squaring 5. Okay, for the unit analysis. So 5 squared is equal to 25 seconds squared. So seconds and seconds will cancel. Okay, so meaning you're left with meter. So your D now is equal to negative 9.81 multiplied by 25, multiplied by 1 half or 0.5. So it is 122.62. Okay, so negative 122.62 meters. Okay, now this is the displacement. Okay, so yung displacement to kasi may negative siya. So your height now, hopefully you can see it here. Let me see. Okay, is it clear? Okay, so your height now is positive 122.62 meters. So this is your answer. What is the height? We solve for the displacement. Then you're going to convert it to height. Okay, so height is distance then, which is a scalar quantity. So walang negative. So puro positive sila. In this case, the negative only signifies the direction. So we solve for displacement kasi pababa siya. So ang displacement mo is pababa siya. So negative ang displacement. But it's not the answer. Okay? You solve for displacement. Ang tanong sa problem, what is the height of the building? So ang hinahanap mo should be yung distance o yung height. So your answer should be converted to positive kasi wala namang height na negative. How tall are you? I'm negative 5 feet 3 inches. So walang ganun. So it's positive, okay? So kahit na bumaliktad ka, ang ulo mo nasa baba, your height is still positive. Okay, it's not negative. Okay, so this is our third problem. Hopefully the solution is clear. Okay, let's try another one. I think it's my final problem. Okay, So I'll share it again. Okay. Okay, number 4. An object is thrown downwards. Okay. From the top of a cliff at 24 meters per second, okay, and hits the ground 7 seconds later, okay. How high is the cliff? So I'll be writing first the given before I remove the share tray. Actually, it's the same problem, or it has the same format of problem number 3, but this time it has an initial velocity of 24 meters per second, and the time is 7 seconds. Okay, 7 seconds. So you're still looking for the height of the cliff? Yes, so how high is the cliff? Okay, so let's try to solve this problem. Okay, so I repeat, you are given the speed of 24 meters per second. Okay, but we're using, sa formula natin, we're using velocity. So dapat yung speed which is scalar should be converted to a vector quantity which is yung velocity. Now, ang velocity mo, since going down, the sign is negative. Okay, since going down siya. Ganun din yung gravity natin, negative siya, it's going down pa rin siya. Okay, so using the formula again for distance, we're looking for the distance again or the height. This time, not the building, but the cliff. Okay, so the distance therefore, d is equal to your initial velocity, VOT, okay, plus 1/2 GT squared. Now, this time may value ka na for your initial velocity, not like before, which is equal to 0. So this negative 24 meters per second multiplied by your time, 7 seconds, then plus, ito lang sa baba, okay, plus 1/2. Your G is negative 9.81 meters per second squared, okay, multiplied by your time squared. Okay, so your time is 7, squaring 7, we get 49. 49 seconds squared. Okay, so canceling the units, seconds, and then second squared, second squared. So you're left with the value, or sorry, with the unit of meter. So tama, that is for distance. I'll multiply the first one first, the first part. It is 24 negative multiplied by 7. So that is equal to negative 168. Okay, and then next is 49 multiplied by negative 9.81 multiplied by 0.5 or 1/2. So it is positive, sorry, negative 240.34. Okay, so it is in meters, this in meters. Okay, so minus 168. Yeah, so your displacement is equal to 408.34 meters. Okay, so it is equal to 408.434 meters. So this is negative. Okay, negative. So this is your displacement. Therefore, the height of the cliff is equal to positive 408.34 meters. So this is the answer to the question. So we use a solution for distance or for displacement. So the sign is negative kasi displacement siya. So we know negative siya kaya pababa. Okay? So yun yung the displacement niya. But we're looking for the height of the cliff. So gagawin natin siyang scalar quantity which is height, distance. Okay? So negative 408 turns into positive 408.34 meters. So this is the height of the cliff. Okay, so those are my sample problems for free fall. Kindly watch this video and kindly comment below regarding the solution if you have questions. So I think that's all. I'll see you again in class next meeting. Okay, so goodbye and have a nice day.